We all hope for the Prime Minister's long health, and certainly we all hope, I think, that he should never be bitten by anything, including human beings.
I remember Indrajit Gupta, the Home Minister, at the entrance of the Central Hall, sitting like this. Kya hoga?
The Speaker of the Lok Sabha says that we have learnt that something is being planned by the opposition. Does the nation not deserve the exact nature of this intelligence? What exactly were they planning to do with the Prime Minister?
If the Speaker of the House has information that the Prime Minister is not going to be safe and the government is not able to provide safety for the Prime Minister in the House, then what are we about? I mean, I'm absolutely taken aback by this formulation by the Speaker. That means the government of India cannot provide safety to the Prime Minister of India.
Some opposition lady MPs would have gherawed the Prime Minister, and because weapons are not allowed, they would have bit the Prime Minister. I mean, what do you expect MPs to do now? Submit their teeth with the security department?
Prime Minister thought, discretion was a better part of valor, and to not reply at all. What's the big deal? What's the problem in not replying? The SPG is equipped to protect him from terrorist threats and militants and...
You see, SPG can't protect the Prime Minister from questions, no? Hello and welcome. You're watching me, Sanket Upadhyay, on The Federal. The show is called AI with Sanket, the AI of news, because news in India today requires not artificial but analytical intelligence. Something bizarre happened, bizarre that happened in Parliament, where the Speaker of the Lok Sabha got up and explained that there were certain circumstances, a sort of a threat to the Prime Minister. He has learnt, he has some intelligence that the opposition is planning to do something which would not be right as far as the security of the Prime Minister is concerned, and thus the Prime Minister is not going to come to the Lok Sabha to deliver his motion of thanks to the President's address. Now this is significant, this is important, it is a prerequisite in parliamentary procedure. Something unprecedented happened where the motion was adopted without the motion of thanks by the Prime Minister. He didn't make a speech in Lok Sabha. He did in Rajya Sabha, but skipped Lok Sabha. And the reason given was some sort of a security threat. What was the nature of this security threat? Some of the MPs and some of the leaders of the BJP NDA combined say that some women MPs from the opposition would have come and bit the Prime Minister. Bit. Using their teeth. Is that really the case? And if that is the case, and if you have intelligence, proper intelligence, should the country not know which female MP from the opposition wanted to bite the Prime Minister using their teeth? Who are they? And if this detail is not given to this country, are we to assume that a dangerous precedent has been set where the Prime Minister and the Treasury benches can hide behind safety concerns to avoid some important questions that the opposition asks of them, let alone being accountable to the Lok Sabha? Is the Prime Minister trying to evade questions from the country and of the opposition? We put this to a short discussion. All right, joining us right now are two senior veteran journalists who have covered many sessions of Parliament, who would be able to give us historical perspective, who would be able to give us perspective as we need it on whether something strange was being planned by the opposition. And the biggest question is, if a Prime Minister is not safe in the Lok Sabha, then where exactly will the Prime Minister of this country be safe That is my very simple question. So one by one, Ms. Aditi Phadnis as well as Ms. Neerja Chaudhari, thank you very much for joining us. Neerja ji, I want to begin with you first. What is your reading when the Speaker of the Lok Sabha says that we have learnt that something is being planned by the opposition? Does the nation not deserve the exact nature of this intelligence? What was the opposition planning? What exactly were they planning to do with the Prime Minister?
As you said, Sanket, it is quite amazing that the speaker, the Lok Sabha speaker, should say that the Prime Minister is not safe in the House of the People. Now, as you say, if the Prime Minister is not safe there in the Lok Sabha, where is he going to be safe? And it's the government that is supposed to provide safety to the Prime Minister. Gone are the days of the watch and ward that used to look after it. Now the Home Ministry looks after it. And to accept that, okay, even if they've got intelligence, we'd like to know, you're absolutely right, what is the nature of the intelligence? What is the information they got that they felt they could not feel this the Prime Minister to speak, and that too to reply to the motion of thanks, to the President's address. And this is something without which it doesn't get passed. This has been the tradition. I don't know, Aditi may remember. I don't remember even a single time when this has happened that it's got passed without the Prime Minister speaking. And it's supposed to highlight the policies of the government, what they have done, the road ahead. So it is a major beginning of the year announcement which is given by the President of India. So it has a certain sanctity. It's not like, somebody's raised some point of order in the House. But even so, if the Speaker of the House has information that the Prime Minister is not going to be safe and the government is not able to provide safety for the Prime Minister in the House, then what are we about? I mean, I'm absolutely taken aback by this formulation by the Speaker. That means the government of India cannot provide safety to the Prime Minister of India.
You know what? The theatre of the absurd, Ms. Aditi Phadnis, is when representatives of the government and alliance partners of the BJP, they come on national television to say some opposition lady MPs would have gherawed the Prime Minister, and because weapons are not allowed, they would have bit the Prime Minister. I mean, what do you expect MPs to do now? Submit their teeth with the security department?
Well, I think biting the Prime Minister is, we've seen the leader of the opposition hug him. Maybe that's also a dangerous action. But I don't think this has any credence whatsoever. It's quite absurd and it sounds completely mad, to be completely honest. I don't think anybody had any idea, any intention of physically assaulting the Prime Minister. That is a very, very serious thing to do. So the question is, if there was no such plan, then this is a preemptive gesture to avoid coming to Parliament and addressing, Parliament on issues that are germane to our society and politics today. There are so many such issues that perhaps Prime Minister thought discretion was a better part of valor, and to not reply at all. What's the big deal? What's the problem in not replying? Except, of course, as Neerja says, that there has never been a precedent of no reply from anybody senior in the government. Usually, the Prime Minister himself replies, and it is a speech that the government itself has prepared. The President's address is something that the government has prepared. So there is no no politics around it. It's usually a fairly standard discussion, and I think it would have been gentlemanly and big-hearted of the Prime Minister if he had come to the House and had addressed all the issues, including the ones that are purportedly not included in the President's address, like the issue of former Army Chief General Narawane's book.
Yeah, Ms. Neerja Chaudhary, just coming back to you, this point where Aditi Phadnis left, I want to ask this question of you. Do you feel that this is a new precedent being set by the Prime Minister via the Lok Sabha Speaker, where in order to avoid any confrontation or any cross questioning or any sloganeering related to issues, for instance, in this case, related to Major Naravane's book, or as the opposition is now harping a lot on the Epstein files. So, if you want to escape a discussion on any of these things, now you can always, there is a precedent now, you can always claim a purported threat to your life. Unless backed with evidence, do you think that this is going to be hard to believe? Should the Lok Sabha Speaker not give out details to this country on the exact nature of the threat?
Yeah, I think it is a very serious thing that the Lok Sabha Speaker said, that there was a threat to the Prime Minister, and that too, that threat was coming, it could, manifest itself in the Lok Sabha, where there are elected MPs. Now, this kind of a thing has never happened also in the past. I don't think, again, that I remember a threat to the Prime Minister in the Lok Sabha being talked about. But it is a very serious thing that Lok Sabha Speaker has said, and because it's the Lok Sabha Speaker, no less than the Lok Sabha Speaker, and that's a very important position of a custodian of the Lok Sabha. Therefore, yes, I agree with you that the country has a right to know what is the nature of that threat. Why were they afraid? Why did they not want to take that risk? Yes, certainly we all need to know and would like to know what that was. And was it only, as was said, that women MPs would have gherawed him, or, like Rahul Gandhi once went and embraced him, came back, and then winked at his friend? The women MPs did go towards his chair 2 days ago, but that doesn't mean they would have attacked him. And I don't know. But Sanket, the bottom line that emerges from this episode yet again, is that there is a complete breakdown between the ruling side and the opposition side. And there is no, even the breakdown in the language used about each other. I mean, Aditi and I used a very different language, which is called parliamentary language. Today, you get all kinds of words bandied about, people, somebody who's the Prime Minister of the country has the mandate of the people. You like him, you don't like him. Or equally about the leader of the opposition, who also has the mandate of the people. Therefore, this is not about the usual opposition of ideology, opposition of programs, opposition of the way of functioning. It is a personal level bitterness that is there between two sides, and that is not good for our country. We've seen, and Aditi remembers this also, whole sessions being washed out in the past. I remember Indrajit Gupta, the Home Minister, at the entrance of the Central Hall, sitting like this. Kya hoga, And I've heard, but the Parliamentary Affairs Ministers, I've heard them. I've heard Pramod Mahajan, in the midst of all this, and there were a whole lot of opposition leaders sitting there in Central Hall saying, "Bas ho gaya na, you made your point, you sent your message, now let's get down. What is it that you want?" Because the House has to function. And it is, of course, the duty of the ruling side to make the House function. But without the opposition, the House will not be able to function. And somewhere, it's very worrying. Sanket, it's very worrying what's happening to the Indian Parliament, the level to which it's gone. And as I say, this extreme, there's no other word, hatred and bitterness of each other, that has personal elements in it that cause concern about parliamentary functioning.
I'm going to very soon draw from your memory of previous instances where the then opposition did what the present treasury benches called creating a ruckus, and all of that was allowed and termed as a legitimate right in democracy. So I'm going to come to that in just a short moment. But Aditi Phadnis, you see, just coming back quickly to that question, do you feel that this sets a very dangerous precedent? Now, if you want to escape, if you know that there will be some uncomfortable questions, then all you have to say is, I have learnt that there is some threat, and then you can choose not to come.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It is a very dangerous precedent, and you just use it as a way to as a tactic to avoid discussion on something that is going to put you in very bad light. We can speculate a little bit about what it was that the prime minister was trying to avoid, apart from an assault on his personal assault on himself, a physical assault on himself. So I think that question is more important than a precedent has been set and it's unavoidable. He may resort to it again. The government may resort to it again. That's a separate issue. What was it that the prime minister was trying to avoid when he decided not to reply to the motion of thanks on the president's address? Uh, so we have to read the room. I agree, it's speculative, but it could be because of the revelations in the unpublished book of the former army chief, because Rahul Gandhi has referred to those issues in his speech. It could have been some of the things that are contained in the Epstein emails. We don't really know, although the government has already dismissed it as fantasy and etc. etc. But you are absolutely right. Avoidance of a head-on collision using the threat of physical violence is not a sustainable strategy, and it is not an advisable strategy either if politics, as we know it, as Neerja ji and I know it, is to continue to survive in India.
You see, I don't think anyone in the opposition, and especially when the chair is so trigger happy with suspensions, will even plan or conspire to bite the prime minister. And no, we are not talking about television sound bites, we are talking about like physically biting. That was the allegation. Neerja Chaudhary, just quickly coming back to you, and both of you actually, if you could turn some pages of history, maybe Neerja ji can refer to her book, How Prime Ministers Decide, on previous instances of how opposition has behaved. One that I can recollect, the last big incident that happened when the UPA to NDA switch happened was the Telangana Formation Bill. TDP MPs were not just in the well of the house, they had reached very close to Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, that Pramod Tiwari and another gentleman had to physically stand in front of Dr. Manmohan Singh so that papers are not thrown at him, so that nobody attacks him.
Yeah, the Telangana was one instance. There have been many instances, Sanket. Yeah, the MPs came very close to the Treasury side through paper throwing, of course, was a very common thing. And of course, the BJP leaders are justifying also that creating a ruckus was part of parliamentary proceedings, a way of protesting. And we know we've ridden all that. Of course, Parliament has held, when P.A. Sangma was the speaker, I remember 3-day session on how to improve things, how to bring about reforms. And what they conclusions they came to were, I think, even put in the on the wall of the speaker's office at one time, if I remember right. So this has happened from time to time. It's not something that does not concern the MPs. It does concern the MPs. And yet, there are reasons which we know why Parliament continues to stall, but the level to which it has gone, as I say, it's the bhasha. There is no restraint in bhasha left anymore. Maybe we are old school. I'm old school. I find it quite upsetting, in fact, when I hear these words bandied at each other. Choru, chakka, but I mean, there are many intelligent ways of, sharp ways of putting your points across.
Yeah,
Picking up.
Dr. Manmohan Singh once referred to demonetization as organized loot and legalized plunder,
That's right.
which
That's
is a
right.
polite way of calling someone choru chakka.
Bil- Bilkul, so no, the point is now, we go over it again and again and again, but this time the difference is that the allegation is suspected, apprehended, physical violence in the house against the prime minister. That's no small charge. That's not no small apprehension. We
I
must move
totally
Correct.
on.
Miss Aditi Phadnis, number one, of course, all of us agree that this cannot just be left at a charge. That we have learned that some physical violence could have happened against the Prime Minister, and thus he is not coming to the Lok Sabha. Prove it. Explain to the country the nature of this threat. Who in the opposition was conspiring to attack the Prime Minister? Name them.
Yes, yes, but I don't think there is any such rule that forces the speaker, that can force the speaker, even by the opposition in its current form, that can force the speaker to clarify or to explain or to expound on his conduct. Uh, I mean, I don't know what the opposition's next step is going to be, but the worst that can happen is to remove the speaker via an impeachment. And I don't think that is likely at all because the numbers are not there. So, so unsafe in the Lok Sabha, then he should just frankly stay in either in Lok Kalyan Marg residence or in Kartavya Bhavan or wherever it is that he's working from, and not bother to come to Parliament at all.
Is that an advice for the Prime Minister if he is
Well,
so unsafe?
if this is the situation that is prevailing now, that he is not safe even from elected members whom hundreds of thousands of people have sent as their representatives to Parliament, then frankly this is a bigger security threat than any other security threat that we can see. The SPG is equipped to protect him from terrorist threats and militants and whatever other threats
You see,
that
SPG can't protect the Prime Minister from questions, no?
so
They can
absolutely
protect from militants.
put your finger on it. They cannot protect him from questions.
Uh, just as Neerja ji just pointed out, the previous instances, anything that comes to your mind, Miss Aditi Phadnis?
Well, if you go really far back in history, then the whole discussion on the Uruguay round, the Dunkel draft, and all those things, there was an echo of what was happening in the house and what was happening on the streets. I remember a similar situation on the issue of Mandal, the discussion on Mandal Commission. So those were all things that were that they were mutually uh, reflective of each other. What was happening on the ground is what was happening in Parliament. Similarly, the Lokpal bill and all the discussions that went on and on and on, the discussion on women's safety, on Nirbhaya, and so on. So yeah, there have been many occasions where Parliament has been really badly disrupted, and but there has never been such a poverty of speeches, such a poverty of intelligent speeches and oratory as there is today.
I think that's very well put, and that's exactly what is happening uh, for a while now. And as Neerja ji pointed out, we are, I mean, every session is a new low, and then you don't know whether it will get lower than this, and then it does. Something amazing happens, like this time around. Anyway, let's hope against hope that the speaker explains the circumstances under which the Prime Minister refused to speak. In fact, the speaker said, I told him not to come. So it's basically the speaker taking this responsibility, so that this is
I
not the
don't
Prime Minister.
I don't think the speaker has the power or the capacity to take on this responsibility. Collectively, I'm sure we all hope for the Prime Minister's long health and secure life and continuance in this world. But, and certainly we all hope, I think, that he should never be bitten by anything, including human beings.
Also,
Yeah.
maybe the time has come for the chairs of both houses together. Some move to defuse the situation, which has escalated to this point. And either the Prime Minister himself can take that initiative, call the opposition, or the Lok Sabha Speaker and the chair of the Rajya Sabha together call both sides. Look, what is the way forward? This cannot go on. This is not right. So I don't know, but some initiative to try and defuse the present situation and find a way out.
I mean, the key word here one can think of is trust. And how do you build that trust where the treasury and opposition benches are not willing to speak to one another? There is a breakdown, complete breakdown, and perhaps some lessons can be drawn from history where some extremely learned men and women were able to tide over their ideological differences, sit on a table and deal with a crisis like situation, which this really has become. Thank you very much, Neerja Chaudhary and Aditi Phadnis, for joining us for this very, very important and significant discussion. Thank you so much.